Okay, I'm gonna actually just right off the bat remove the code Mista. If you want to support me, feel free to use that in the shop, but that is going to be in the way for today's video, and this is going to be a lot of talking, so I am going to try to not include as much gameplay as I can, because this is already going to be a long video, and it's going to take me a lot of work, and already has, just more or less structuring this. I won't say scripting, but I will try to include gameplay where strictly necessary, because some heroes are kind of weird, but I already kind of did that on my YouTube, so we might be fishing around my channel a little bit just to show some certain examples. Now, there's also this post that Mad just made where Epic, him being Epic, were pretty much literally asking for this kind of video. Now, obviously, he probably meant on Reddit, but I think seeing as Epic is very likely to see it, I'm going to be putting a little bit more thought into this, and that's why I've made this video as structured as possible, and I hopefully went through and time-stamped all of this, and we'll make it easy to follow. And I'm also going to be going like point by point through the collection book, and we'll get started with that in a second. But I also wanted to talk about this archive of hero traits. Now, this is a thing on Fortnite DB, or whatever it is, Fortnite.gamepedia. No, it's not DB. Reused perks, it just kind of shows everything that's active. But down here, under the constructor section, are actually a lot of abilities that aren't currently being used in the game. Now, plenty of these have made their way into like other perks, like increasing maximum health. Basically became Blast from the Past, and then like, you know, other stuff, you know, the reduced cost of buildings, which would be really nice to have back on Constructors. I don't know why walls costing 9 instead of 10 was considered to be overpowered. I don't know why they changed that. I think more people would enjoy Constructors if they were you know, cheaper still. However, I will say, because this video is going to have a lot of feedback, it's going to sound like complaining, but this is coming from a place of love. Somebody doesn't make a video like this if they don't care about the game. So if I sound like I'm bitching, and I will be, it's because I want to see this game improve, and I want that to be abundantly clear. And situations like this are exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to give an example where I'm going to say, Constructors, right off the bat, get the award for most balanced heroes. They are perfect in a lot of ways. I mean, there are a lot of dumb perks, and we'll get into it, but largely speaking, Constructors are really well-rounded, pun intended, and they work. They're very good. There aren't many abilities that are outright bad, other than Rosie having an absurd cooldown that makes it literally unusable. I don't know people who use Rosie that often because it's just too much of a cooldown. Now, I don't actually have any like really good examples from this. Maybe like grenades afflicting enemies is cool, and to think that that's just already in the game is kind of weird that you guys, you know, you could just use that. I'm just saying. And I will be laying into grenades pretty heavily, honestly, very early in this video. So without further ado, I want to also add that these are all opinions of mine. I talk to a lot of people every day on my channel, in my videos, so this is going to be maybe not representative of the entire community, but I am not just speaking from a place of opinion, and I'll try to say when I am just speaking from opinion. And I have also put like 4,800 hours into this game or something like that. So I'm not somebody who just started playing yesterday. I have tried every hero we'll be talking about today, and if I miss a hero, I'll bring it up. All right. And if I skip any heroes, they're probably either good or outside of my area of expertise. Without further ado, let's get into the base game heroes. So we're going to be starting with the base heroes just to keep everything organized, and we're going to start with some of the soldiers that I think are worth noting, starting at the very top with Hawk. Warcry energy cost is kind of a redundant perk because Warcry just has a really long cooldown, which is a problem in and of itself. There are entire builds where to use Warcry effectively, you got Banshee in the lead or in the support nowadays because Major Oswald is a thing. I haven't actually unlocked him yet, but he slowed and snares enemies in the radius, for those who don't know, and they reduces the damage that enemies take, or increases the damage they take by 25%. So with him in the lead and Banshee in support, you need a whole squad to even make that usable. And unfortunately, you can't really utilize his lead because you need Colonel Wildcat, who is great, by the way. Warcry cooldown is fantastic, but even in the lead, you get about a 25-second dead time, which is a long time. That's, I think, half of your ability or half of your time spent in the mission is with a dead loadout because everything is buffing Warcry. I don't seriously believe that if you run an entire loadout dedicated to Warcry, I don't believe that it's overpowered for it to always be active. Obviously, if Warcry was always active on top of like a really good soldier build, that would be broken, and I totally respect that. However, if you've got an entire loadout dedicated to it, that's bad. And in this case, because the cooldown is as long as it is, reducing the energy cost is pointless. You're not spamming abilities as a soldier. That's just never really a problem, so I don't really see the need. And then there are heroes like Banshee, which is great. She's awesome. Use her all the time. And I also want to talk about Master Grenadier. Now, this is going to bring up a big topic about mythics. They are more expensive to recruit, and they do unlock team perks, and I understand that, but I don't understand how mythics were decided, because they are very rarely actually better than any other normal hero. In fact, there's a loadout down below, a section of heroes where the mythic is actually the only bad hero. We'll get to it. And Master Grenadier is exactly that case. Frag Grenade Radius, that's our mythic soldier. I used to have 3 of her because she buffed assault damage by so much, and I don't know what that was. Like, Rescue Trooper is who I would think the Special Forces or Master Grenadier would be. Although Master Grenadier is literally grenades, I just don't know why it's mythic. And Radius is fine, that's great. I use her in my builds, but I don't use her in my build because I never run grenade because it's too weak. And that's a big topic that I want to bring up. That'll be a theme from all the perspectives of this video, where any hero that has anything to do with abilities is kind of unfortunately bad, because most abilities are very useless in the end game and they are so fun. There is so much that we could use regularly, like a Plasma Pulse build or Going Constructor if it was usable. If that was active the whole time, we already run slow during it, and Going Constructor would make a little bit of gameplay changes, and every ability would be great. The only one example I can think that is genuinely viable in the endgame is Minigun. We have certain heroes that put together with, I believe it's actually Commando Spitfire here in the lead, that can be as low as about a 5.5 second cooldown, where your minigun is always active. And that's awesome. It's really good. It's super fun. You can build a whole loadout dedicated to minigun, and you can have a great time. The only problem with that is you can't cancel your ability, meaning I have actually lost the rewards in encampments 3 different times in the same session, back to back to back, because I was stuck in my lefty and righty, I believe, for the entirety of the end screen, and then I couldn't pick up my rewards before my ability ran out. So if you could just put your minigun away when you're done with the battle, just like keep the cooldown, and don't do anything else, just let me go back to my regular play style, that'd be fantastic. That little tweak would be such a quality of life thing that would really enhance how this game is played. And then just to move on down the list here, Survivalist is great in concept, but super bad for one key reason, and that's stacking. Now, this is an okay, perfectly fine hero normally, but I use Blast from the Past a lot. This is where I'm biased, but that does nothing in Blast from the Past. And if coconuts didn't exist, I would be a lot more passionate about this conversation. But it could be fine for one reason. Leave everything the same, but allow it to stack. And what I mean is, if you kill 1 enemy, you're healing 39 over 3 seconds. If you kill 5 enemies, you're healing 39 over 3 seconds. If that could stack, every single enemy adds how much you're healing by, which I think it should naturally do, that'd be awesome. The duration refreshes with additional eliminations, but the health doesn't. So in fact, when I've used Survivalist, when I'm too lazy to collect coconuts, which is quite rare, I find myself killing an enemy, waiting 3 seconds, killing an enemy, waiting 3 seconds, killing an enemy. I don't know if you guys know that that's how that ends up making us play, but it's annoying, and I think it would make this hero literally just change nothing other than allow it to stack. I don't even know what I'm asking for there programming-wise, but it would be great. In fact, it would make him a really, really quite capable hero. Now, Archetype Havoc and Raptor are both good. I mean, crit damage. This does bring up a topic I'll get into, and that we can only get these heroes once. I'll talk about that maybe after this Light Show here. But Light Show has one glaring problem. Same with Survivalist, where mag size by 30% is great. I used to use him all the time, but I found something out. It doesn't affect with mag size perks. In fact, I'm not going to put him in support. Maybe, I will. Let's show it. So if you go to an extreme example, I don't recommend anybody do this, but it's very silly. Search bars are a thing I've brought up in the past and would really be helping here. You know what? I'm not making any cuts. We're gonna all live through this for a second. Where's Mercury LMG? Am I blind? I've been known to be blind. There it is. Oh my goodness. Did I get rid of my... I did not. So, perfect example. 400 mag size Mercury LMG. Gorgeous, right? Absolutely gorgeous. I made a video on this where I was shooting it for 8 minutes straight, and Light Show Spitfire was not a part of that. In fact, Assault Ammo Recovery was. We're going to get into some hardcore math here, but the 24% chance to refund ammo does affect mag size. Every time you shoot, you have a 24% chance to not consume that bullet, so it stays in your mag. What this effectively means is you get about a 31.7-ish% overall mag size buff, and this can make, in the lead, where it's 48%, that's actually more like a 96% or 94, something like that. With 400 rounds of my Mercury LMG, he basically made my mag size like 824 or something like that, which was huge. Whereas, if I switch to Light Show Spitfire, he does not care about the mag size perks. That 30% on top of a 400 mag size, hopefully I can find it again, is only going to add 30 bullets. That is potentially an oversight. I'm not sure if that was intended by the developers to work that way, but if it's stacked on top of mag size, he'd be a great option because I would like to, I don't know. I mean, saving ammo is kind of nice. I still think assault ammo recovery mathematically would be superior by 1.7%. But on top of saving, increasing your mag size, you're actually saving the ammo. So whereas light show just increases your mag size, assault ammo recovery simply doesn't fire the bullet. And holy crap, we're already 10 minutes in. I barely started. All right, there's a lot of disclaimers, but I'm gonna have to speed up if we're gonna get through this. One-time heroes, that annoys me because I want to level up my collection book. I want to slot everything, and I can't do that because of these campaign soldiers and these campaign heroes that I can't really slot more than once without using a voucher. And then starter packs. I paid money for these heroes. I don't want to have to book them. I want to use them, but I also don't want my book to be empty. And the same thing goes for birthday heroes, which you can't even get anymore. Kind of a big sad face there. At least they're reskins, so it's not a big deal. But home base as well. Like Clip, I only put her in here because I vouchered her. She was a fantastic addition to the game, not gonna lie. And also, I think everything here is fine because I didn't actually make any notes for these heroes, but Director Riggs is, again, a fantastic idea, but when I used him, I was stuck in the Going Constructor for a long time. The enemies were long dead, and I basically just waited 15 seconds for it to run out. So that could be another example. Moving on to Constructors. I said that these guys are almost perfect, and they are. Most of them are completely fine. But Sentinel Hype is an example where decoy by 1.5 isn't great. I know that you can like spam decoys with Controller Harper in the lead, so maybe that's fine. I just figured it was a little iffy. But really, everything here is nice. Hotfixer, I mean, healing stuff faster is great. Upping your hardware damage and crit rating, all of that is fun. Plasma Pulse would be fantastic if it had more of a cooldown. You need an entire loadout for it to even be good, and then it's not even something you can spam. Mega Base is one mythic that actually makes sense. It increases your range by a ton. Like, that is the Constructor. If you're not increasing your base, what are you doing? But I wanted to talk about Magnus, I think, because that was like one of those examples where the decoy dealing damage every 1 second is nice, but decoy doesn't last that long, and 6 base damage isn't that much. It's, as far as I'm aware, very close to at least my rank, where it's like maybe that'd be like 9,000 damage. That is not a lot, not in the end game. And perhaps that might have to scale a little bit heavier, but it's just kind of a dead perk in my opinion. And I also had Magnus and Hotfixer. Oh yeah, Hotfixer has also been told to me that that's not working. This is an official bug report. I'm just saying that it might not even be functional. Brawler Luna is a funny example because when somebody was abusing some kind of glitch long ago, his account got reset by the devs. Somebody got angry at that individual, and Brawler Luna was the hero they used to replace all of his heroes in his inventory. So even Epic has used this hero as a punishment. It's that bad. Crescent Kick cooldown. Ninjas, you're spamming abilities often, so that makes sense to have a cooldown on something, but Crescent Kick is quite weak indeed, and that's where like every single Crescent Kick hero falls. Once the ability is quite bad, every hero associated with it is bad. And now damage increase from Stonefoot is nice. I'm not even harshing on her. I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe this is more of a Crescent Kick critique rather than anything else. But I also wanted to talk about Deadly Star Scorpion, wherever I found him. I just had to itch my... There he is. All right, so I only have one of him. Interesting. Yeah, Energy Affliction. This is actually a good example of where 3 base damage is being stacked 3 times, and it can deal a little bit of extra damage. And that's nice. So, you know, not affliction, but like the low base damage buffs can be nice when stacking multiple times. Maybe he's a little underpowered, I'm not certain, but Fleetfoot is definitely underpowered. He's an interesting case. We're in the lead, 37.5% is instantly noticeable. You don't even want to take it off. But that 12.5% is not noticeable. I don't even notice it's there. If it was more like 20%, that'd be a great addition. And it also brings up something that we were talking about on stream, where this is like my refined soldier build. I'll move my camera so we can see everything easy. This is something I use all the time. Anytime I'm using an SMG or an assault rifle, and this is a very common build. As a content creator, I have put this build into many people's loadouts. A lot of people use it, and it's kind of packed. It's full. I'm increasing my damage in the lead. In support, assault ammo recovery is a personal touch. I like it for the ammo. And then going coconuts is almost required because Blast from the Past only heals you by 30%. I'll only have, your regular health only goes to 30%. So I'll only have about 300,000 health, and I'll just be losing 600,000 health points if I don't heal in some way. I already discussed how Survivalist isn't sufficient, so coconuts is, by the way, a gold standard perk. This is, in my opinion, the best support perk in the entire game. Searching for coconuts every game is very annoying, but in general, it's insane. I use it almost every single time, and I'm not saying it's overpowered. It's seriously, it's fine. It scales with the amount of health that you have, which is great. So if you're only at 130,000 health, this will only give you about like 40k or something like that. I think it's 1/3. Just do the math, you guys, if you want to, correct me on that in the comments. But Soaring and Hide, Soaring Might, again, just to activate Blast from the Past, and that's it. I would love to have like more assault ammo recovery, or like a reload perk on this. We'll get to that down the line, or something in support that, like fleet. I don't think running faster on top of all of this would be overpowered. So what I'm suggesting here is very major, and I doubt that it'll ever actually happen in the game. But instead of just having randomly 5 support perks, maybe you need like 2 or 3 damage buffing perks. Maybe everything can be classed in a certain way. That's support and damage, because assault ammo recovery does 0 damage bonus whatsoever. So to have a couple of like reload mag perks, and then maybe a certain section for damage or a certain section for ability, because as you can see, I can't even use my abilities in this loadout any more than base damage, and I would love to throw on like a 55% bonus to shockwave. Again, I don't think that would make this loadout broken. So that's a huge suggestion, and it's just an idea, but maybe that kind of thing could make the game a little bit more fun, rather than using, because once I've decided on a loadout that I like that, I haven't changed it, and it's been over a year. So, any way that we can tweak stuff is a really, really positive thing, I think. And I also wanted to add in the ninja section, just fleet. Yeah. So these are just good examples of heroes that work, but, Overtaker Hero is quite fun, especially with Happy Holidays. It's a fantastic combo. Striker AC, oh, how he's fallen from grace. Seismic Smash energy cost is nice, but not very helpful when Seismic Smash is as useless as it is. And Enforcer Grizzly is something we'll bring up later. I'll probably reiterate this when we get down to her, but Enforcer Grizzly is Jingle Jess, and Jingle Jess is Enforcer Grizzly. I don't know if that's intended, but having just looked through every hero in the game, this is, if I'm not mistaken, the only event hero that is a reskin of a base game hero. They are essentially identical. In the Fortnitemares section, we do have heroes that are the same as each other. We have a couple of examples of those, but I'm not sure if that was an oversight, or if Jingle Jess is known that she's just a reskin of Enforcer Grizzly, who is again reskinned as Metal Team Leader. They're all kind of the same as each other, so having 3 heroes in the game with the same ability is a little odd. The only thing I wanted to mention in the Outlander section, because all of these are ability based, and Outlander abilities are actually quite strong, so I really don't have much critique here at all. But what I do want to add is the fact that Valkyrie exists, and if I can find her, oh, she's down here, isn't she? Yeah, not oh no, not Valkyrie. No, that's Ventura. Valkyrie. I'm sorry, I'm confusing you guys, but impact bonus is not anything we really need on a anti-material charge. That is, it's not used by anybody, not to any effect at least, and that's all I have to add. Even damage isn't much. We'll get down to Bloodfinder later, but I don't know what to suggest there. I'm just saying she is rather pointless. And I will also add, just while we're kind of coming down here, the inspiration for all of this video was the fact that they did buff Rio. So they made her, I'm going to just talk about it quick randomly, where they made it so that she used to do extra bonus damage to shields, not the shield or husk, not the zombies inside of it, just the shield, which was dead. That's a useless perk. And they made her actually really good. Extra damage while the shields are at least 50% full. That has made me consider not use Blast from the Past, and she was quite effective when I tried her. But we're going to move down to the the Shadow Zone ShadowOps Heroes. This is an interesting situation, because Double Agent Evelyn is almost flawed in a very specific way, because it buffs pistol or SMG, so it buffs lefty and righty in the way that pistol and SMG's eliminations will reduce the cooldown. However, for those who might not know, which could be quite a few of you, lefty and righty is based, or as at least classed in the files, as an ability. It is, while you are shooting pistols, you're actually not, according to the game. So it doesn't actually reduce the cooldown. If that was affected by lefty and righty, you could potentially have unlimited lefty and righty so long as there are enemies to kill. And yeah, that might be a little broken. I think unlimited lefty and righty is a little crazy. However, it would be awesome. So maybe you could do exactly what we did with the Art Deco Heroes, where if I'm going to go to him, I believe it was Noir. I could be wrong here. Yeah, lefty and righty eliminations extend duration by 1 second. That's awesome. So clearly that ability already exists, and I am kind of talking out my ass, but I still stand by the fact that Double Agent Evelyn is, I don't know, a pistol or SMG outside of the cooldown can reduce it's just not, 1 second is not a lot. I have tried to use this ability. I use it in dungeons, and it just it wasn't really cutting it. So I mean, you know, clearly they added the ability. I honestly had forgotten until I started talking. They added that ability with Noir, but she is still kind of left untouched and not sure what to do with that. Frag damage, once again, is a great ability, but is a great ability bonus, but not an ability. And Deadly Lotus Luna and Edge are actually something I want to bring up because both of these, if I'm not mistaken, are the only two heroes in the game that directly buff spears, which is something not everybody might know, but it's kind of a what the hell thing when you realize it. So buffing them against afflicted enemies is super specific, and heavy attack efficiency is also super specific. Spears aren't the most strong thing, so this is probably not that big of a deal, but these are the only two heroes that buff spears. So I'm not sure what I'm suggesting there. I'm just saying that is a thing, and nobody is really using these heroes very often at all. Shock Gunner Grizzly is way too short. Dashing through enemies, stunning them with phase shift is a cool idea. I like it, but half a second is nothing. That's not helping anybody. Literally, keep them the same, just maybe like 2 seconds so that you can at least turn around and do something with that would be awesome. And Cyberpunk, most of these are actually really good. Harvester Sarah is a nice scythe bonus, you know, Bulletstorm's great. Heavy base is a little odd. That explosion is maybe on the weaker side of Constructors, but I really just can't say that he's bad. The only thing I have to say is Ted Shot Jess, every 21 eliminations gain a charge fragment is not... even I consider myself a fairly accurate headshot hitter. 21 shots is brutal to keep track of. That is a very stressful hero to use. Even if you can hit those headshots, you're constantly, your whole gameplay shifts, and it's not fun in my opinion, but I don't know. I have seen her used quite useful, so this is where I'm going to openly admit that that is more of an opinion idea. But yeah, Storm Zone, I think most of these are good. Centurion Hawk is unfortunately, no. Yeah, Warcry Radius is not helping. I mean, that's a nice idea in theory, but like I said, all the Warcry spots are full, and it is what it is. I'm not going to reiterate too much, though. Trail Blast, again, Shock Tower duration, Trail Blaster is half a second on the Shock Tower is not doing much. I like Shock Tower, I really do, but this needs to, like, it needs to be, like, 2 or 3, and I know Shock Tower is very strong for a very brief amount of time, but half a second is, like, 1 extra hit, maybe 2. I think he just needs a bump. Just a bump. He's not a weak hero, but that is not enough. In my personal opinion, just from experience, that is not my top pick. Marathon Hype is another interesting example where Gold Nox is a great hero, in my opinion. In theory, he's very fun, but not quite strong. So increasing that distance is cool and all, but I don't even know. Bull Rush is kind of an interesting perk. I don't know. Either way, Scavenger, I don't think I have any notes. All of these are really cool. Other than Gunblaster or Gunblazer is quite stressful. Phase shifting to do extra damage is annoying because you're essentially constantly resetting your own accuracy, and that can be really tricky. But I don't really have much to say there. Let's move on to the Steel Wool Heroes, trying to stay organized. Now, this is interesting because my main complaint is actually their team perk. If I'm not mistaken, all of these unlock Boom Base. It doesn't show for him. Maybe Steel Wool Sid does. I'm just not... Yeah, I just want to get it on the screen so we can talk about it. Boom Base is really cool. It's loud as hell, and that can be annoying. Somebody suggested maybe making that music in-game music from, like, the locker, and I know that that's a popular Reddit recommendation, so maybe that's not something I should have even mentioned, but I'm just saying it's an ability that gives you crit rating and damage, and that's really good, like a Constructor offensive build. However, the problem is, when I use it in-game, is you need a dead perk. Steel Wool Carlos is fantastic. That Warcry, I use it quite a lot. Very fun. Steel Wool Sid, while not my personal playstyle, I can respect how kinetic overload damage is a nice bonus to have indeed. But Steel Wool Anthony is... not sure what he's doing. I get that he's an Outlander, so you can't really just, you know, buff him in certain ways like a normal soldier would get, but that pulsing radius, that pulsing damage at the end of a Seismic Smash, not useful. I did make a Seismic Smash video, I did make a whole loadout around it, and he was deemed unfit to be useful in that build. So honestly, making him work with Carlos or Sid in a way that... Because by a dead perk, I mean, to use Carlos or Sid or whoever to get the Boom Base active, you're either buffing Kinetic Overload, which is only Constructors, or Warcry, which is only Soldiers, or Seismic Smash, which is only Outlanders. Whether you're running an Outlander, Constructor, or a Soldier, one of your support perks is going to be dead. Well, actually, no, you need to run Constructor to even get the Boom Base active. I'm sorry, I'm losing it right now. But yeah, it's a great ability, but... having a dead perk in support is kind of a bummer, and I think Anthony is our weakest link there. I'm sorry if this isn't as coherent as expected. I thought I'd be doing a better job today, but this was a lot of information. Hopefully everybody watching this can understand that I just skimmed through every hero in the game, and my brain has a lot in the short-term memory right now, so I am doing my best here. Triceratops is disgusting. In fact, I have heard jokes that perhaps her health bonus there was a typo, and I hear what they're saying. Healing 2.125% every 5 seconds is disgustingly low. Somebody did the math that it would take like 4 or 5 minutes to get to full if you're using Blast from the Past, which she's clearly intended for. She's a dino. That is disgustingly low. It needs to be... Honestly, the 21% in the joke is actually not that bad. If every 5 seconds you got 20% of your health back, that'd be great. In fact, I could consider not using coconuts and maybe free up a support perk. This would be a really good hero. But right now, she is terrible. Now, dinos are interesting to lay into because Rex is good. Iza's fantastic. I mean, all the dinos are like top tier. They are the standard for heroes in this game. Even Jurassic Ken is an interesting one because he buffs ability damage by 60% in the lead. But in the lead, we have Crescent Kick, Throwing Stars, which is great, and Dragon Slash, which is great. But to buff your abilities by 60%, but he's only got 3 abilities is always something I've considered to be funny. I don't know. I don't know what else I could suggest there. But, I mean, these are great heroes. I'm just saying that Ankylo even, I've heard that you can be a lot more useful than I've experienced. But even with Kinetic Overload, that is tricky. That is not a very, very strong ability. And Garridan, once again, that is not my playstyle, so I'm not even going to speak on the hardware impact stuff. I just know that going Constructor is, and Kinetic Overload is a whole other thing. Parasword Jess, really good. This is just me sprinkling in some positivity with a lot of feedback. I use her with phase shift loadouts. Fantastic. Keeps me healed. I run it in dungeons. Super fun. Just Triceratops needs... It needs a buff. Like, I know that Epic, maybe you guys think that you balanced everything properly, and I respect that your perspective may be that, but as a player, I can tell you that nobody uses Triceratops unless they have no other option. So anyway, all right, that's enough of that. Venturion is an example where Crescent Kick needs a buff. I was actually going to make a video on him day one, and then my friend came back to me and was like, no, just skip it, dude. Like, this damage is not enough. I don't know how much damage it would need to be. Maybe I shouldn't have taken his word for it. This is one where I'll admit that I'm inexperienced, but I'm just going to bring that up. Otherwise, Gumshoe's fantastic. Nora is fantastic. Sleuth, the Rosie, again, it's like a 3-minute cooldown, and I'm not certain that you can lower it. I know that Happy Holidays is a thing, but even then, multiple minutes for Rosie is... wow. It runs out too quick for that. I would love to have a constant Rosie. That wouldn't even be that broken because its damage drop off is insanely harsh, meaning everything needs to be close by, and you can't exactly move a Rosie until it's out of ammo. So you could literally cut that cooldown down to like a minute, and Rosie would probably still be too long. Rad Heroes are all great. I really have no suggestions. They are well balanced. Other than Totally Rockin' Out itself is incredibly stressful to use because it's constantly decaying and it's a little hard to re-up it. I don't know. That's a tricky ability, but I think almost all of this is completely fine. Let's talk about Road Trip. This is what I was talking about earlier, where every single hero here is almost meta, as in like top tier. Redline's tricky because she increases the fire rate, but her damage stays the same in the lead. Kind of makes the Jonesy guy, the rabbit dude, kind of the clear pick. Sledgehammer is identical to Ramirez, fantastic. Thunder Thora is, while very weak, a fantastic way to AFK low-level V-Buck missions, and Whiteout Fiona is top tier. She's super, super good. So the fact that these 4 heroes are paired with Ragnarok, I mean, okay, I'll admit this is a good Seismic Smash build. I just don't understand why he's a mythic here. Anyway, other than that, these are just really great heroes. Pirate. I'm going to bring up Jonesy and Keelhaul, even though it was very clear how these were intended to be played, switching off between a sword and a pistol. That is, again, not my personal playstyle. However, I have used the Jack's Revenge and the Corsair with this ability, and it's fun. I'll admit, it was a good time. But it's a little tricky to make great use of that, and that's all I got to say there. Seawolf is a great ad. Freebooter are both good. Crossbones Barrett, please don't touch it. It's my favorite ability, and it's super strong. Hybrid, on the other hand, is not. Affliction Duration. What? Affliction Duration and Dragon Slash applies Affliction. Okay. I don't think anybody's ever needed Affliction Duration. Now that it's doing more damage, maybe I should look into this. But typically, instead of just waiting for Affliction to do the job, I would just shoot them again. So if in support he, like, If in support he made Dragon Slash apply Affliction, I don't think that would be overpowered. That's just an opinion of mine, but if his support perk was his lead perk, that would be great. I'd love to run that with Dragon Slash, and I think that would be a great addition, and I don't think anybody would have anything bad to say. Otherwise, the Pyros are really good. They're really good. Blakebeard Stash is fantastic. Blakebeard, Barrett, Privateer with the club damage. It's a good combo. Blockbuster is a very emotional topic for me because I really loved reload bonus before the hero rework. I believe it was March of 2019. That just took away all the reload options. Now, Chromium Ramirez exists as our only hero in the entire game that buffs the speed of reload, and that is only in the lead when it's empty. And that is not worth it. I am not going to give up because I use Ramirez in the lead. So 50% of my damage is just going to get moved down to 17% if I want to have a buffed reload speed. Not worth it. She was bugged for a long time to where she was applying the reload bonus and support, and that was great. That was really good. I don't know why you patched it. Why did you do that to us? I liked that. It wasn't broken. We want to reload faster. Let me play your game harder. But that's it. So that's my main suggestion with her, is to just make her lead the support. We all need a reload perk, in my opinion, because I think all of us have just gotten used to not having one. But I think if you brought it back, people would be reminded what is nice about reloading quickly. I'm going to take a drink. We're half an hour in. I've earned some water. All right. Archaeologist, fantastic. All of these are good. Seriously. Raven and Carbide. Whew! My dungeon friends will understand why I'm excited about that one. Cloakstar is great. I mean, the Arc actually, arguably, makes throwing stars weaker. I don't know if you know that, Epic, but throwing a straight line is quite nice. But, I mean, he's perfectly fine. I'm not going to say much about that. Spy Heroes. I brought this up in a recent video, actually. Nox is super fun, but does little damage. This is where I thought gameplay would be necessary. You essentially just run along as a constructor with your bull rush, and you drop exploding mines behind you. That's exactly what it is. And that, they do 110 base physical damage, which is a good amount of damage, but he's very hard to use. Maybe I'm just bad at the game, but I don't know. I don't know what I would want from him. I'm not going to pretend like I had much of a coherent thought for him. He's just not quite there, at least in the end game. I want everything to be usable in 164 players. Maybe I'm just, But Bladestorm is a good example of 4 base energy damage is disgusting. It has been recently made my attention that shock towers do base 12 damage. I don't know how to calculate it, Epic. Could you please stop using base damage and just give us numbers? Because not all of us know your formulas. I'm a pretty knowledgeable player in this game, and nobody has been able. I talked on stream for a long time, on multiple days, and nobody has been able to crack the formula for calculating base. If somebody knows it, comment below. But at least with a shock tower, 12 base damage was doing 19,000 in a full party with a 30% shock tower bonus, which was great. So that means that it's less than 19,000, which means that 4 base damage is less than 6,000 damage. That's not a lot. You're only throwing like, what, 5 kunais when you use the ability? That is not a lot. So that could do a lot more damage, but the explosion idea is fantastic. Literally just up his damage by a little bit, and I would happily use him. He's a great hero. Rio is another example where she is a hero that I want to be good so bad, but phase shift giving you an energy pulse. I've heard people in my comments, actually. This is one where I'm speaking from not experience. People have multiple times told me like, hey, I'm going to use her. And then they come back a little while later and they're like a sad puppy in the rain. They're like, yeah, no, she didn't pan out. So I don't know what needs to be done here. It'd be cool if she was like activating some kind of bonus. I don't know. If she made every single pistol into like a laser cannon, I think it'd be cool. What if she transformed your weapon into like a pew 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 type weapon? I don't know if that's even reasonable to recommend, but she's just a hero that we all want to use. I've always been intrigued by her, but everybody I've talked to has been disappointed. Buzz is a great idea. I think that she is perfect in the sense that if she's not intended for late game players who shouldn't be crutching on gadgets anyway, she's great. If you are a low level player and you can't fill out your squads, then decreasing your gadget cooldown by 20% is nice. You get to spam your drone a little bit more often. It's like 1 minute. It's not a lot, but it's if that's how she was intended, then I can understand why she's as weak as she is. Springtime. To those who don't know, most of the bonuses here are grenades. Battlehound, 4-leaf Wildcat, Highland, I believe, frag grenade, and she's just the eliminations, gives you a chargement, sorry about that, and stare down. So these three are all grenade bonuses, and all of them are hit by the same thing I mentioned earlier. Grenades just aren't strong enough. They need to do more damage, at least in the high end, because I was essentially just using this loadout in low-level missions. Stare down, I've been told, is good. I don't know. But every hero here is quite useful, and I only have a couple of things to say. And one is thank you for Farah. She's awesome, but she's not very accessible. For a hero that is almost required to make bows useful, having to spend a voucher is kind of a punch to the gut for new players. I know that as a late game player, I've just reveled in her being active for me always, but I have talked to many friends who were quite soured by the fact that I'd have to wait like 5 months, I believe, is 2 venture seasons, and she wanted dinos as well. So sorry, Hannah, that you had to wait as long, but to make such a powerful hero inaccessible is tricky. But I know that vouchers exist, so maybe I'm complaining for nothing. I want to talk about Fallen Lover Ninja Jonesy. And I'm scared too, because he has for the longest time been bugged to where his commander perk is actually working in the standard perk. And I'm only bringing this up because it's great. If he did 6 energy over 3 seconds, the way that it's supposed to function, as I'm being made aware, is that is 2 energy per second. That's disgustingly low. He's been doing 6 energy every second for 3 seconds since release. That's awesome. That's perfectly fine. It makes my abilities usable, and he's great. So I don't know what the commander perk, maybe this isn't even bugged and I'm totally reading it wrong, but he's been a fantastic hero for a long time, and any tweak would not make anybody happy. It would just be a nerf that nobody asked for, and I know a lot of people in the comments are probably even pissed that I mentioned it. So I'm just being transparent here. He's good. Even if he's bugged, he's not overpowered. Just leave him alone, please. Chinese New Year. Fireflower, it seems like she was just, where is she? Just added for fun. 3 base damage per second is not helping anybody. But fireworks behind my face shift would be super fun if that was usable. So I just, maybe she's a little weak. Flash AC, super cool. Cooldown is great. What I also had noted here was Wukong. Yeah, so Illuminations triggering 37 base damage is nice, but it's not quite enough. In fact, in my opinion, after 6 range eliminations, meaning you're already effectively killing the crowd, if that explosion damage did enough to kill a normal enemy, that'd be fantastic. Maybe that's what 37 base damage is, but not in my experience. He would be a great addition if he actually triggered with abilities as well. And this might sound a little weird to suggest, but with a minigun or lefty and righty, to allow Wukong to provide some extra area of effect damage with abilities as well, I don't think that'd be broken. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe playtesting will prove otherwise, but if that was an update that was made to Wukong, I think he would deserve his spot as a mythic hero. It's also very strange that he gives Soaring Mantis. I've always and forever thought he was a ninja because of that, even though I am well aware that that says soldier. I don't know what I'm suggesting there. I'm just saying that's kind of odd. What do we have here? This is the Thunder. Yeah, so when your shield depletes, stunning enemies is a thing. It's more of a passive ability. I've seen people use this and be happy with it, but I've never been quite convinced that that's very useful. But otherwise, pretty much every Chinese New Year hero is quite good. Red Willow. I'm going to spare some colorful language because we waited many, many months with no updates, and this is what was brought to us. This was an offensively low amount of damage. I did make a video on her where I suggested things like maybe when you dash through enemies, every single enemy that you dash through explodes to deal this kind of damage. That'd be great. But that is a disgustingly low amount of damage at the end of your phase shift. And I did make a video on that. In fact, I'm going to show it just because like I need you to see that I am not just, that's not even my video. What are we looking? YouTube, are you high? Okay. That wasn't even my video. All right, Red Willow. I think I show it right away. You can see that in a party with Benz in a 140, I am struggling to kill baby zombies. The phantasms are the only thing doing any work, and they're not doing much. So, yeah, maybe the playtesters at Epic saw those phantasms and thought, aha, this is a usable hero. It is not. She is kind of a meme in the community right now for being useless, and I'm just going to move on. Sergeant Tank is, again, also a meme for being useless. I get that Golden Constructor is something that I'm not personally experienced with, but I have heard that he is ranked as like the F tier for heroes. I'm not sure what needs to be done to change that, but I'm just going to bring it up. And I think almost every other hero here is completely fine, other than Jingle Jess, like I mentioned, I would repeat, is the same as Enforcer Grizzly. So they do the same thing. Maybe giving her her own ability would be fantastic. I agree. I think it would. But Warden Kyle is also much like the Dino chick who doesn't heal you enough. 3.7 base health is cool. It's nice that it heals everybody while they're standing on the base, but I honestly thought he was bugged when I first used him because my health wasn't going up very much. I was like, is he even working? And then I stared at my health and was like, oh my god, he is. That's nothing. Now, it's been a while since I had that reaction, but I think more health than that would be kind of nice. I'm just saying that doesn't really mitigate any enemy damage, and maybe I'm wrong. I could be off on that analysis, but it is a problem. And I think Jolly Headhunter was something I mentioned where she doesn't do anything with headshots anymore. That's it. I mean, a decent ability could be fun to use. I've seen it used very effectively, but the randomization of it can be a little hard to trust. I'm just saying that she isn't exactly a headhunter anymore. That's all I got. Everything else here has been mentioned. Let's move on to Wild West, which is one of the best sets in the entire game. Everything here is very, very cool. Other than Infiltrator Ken was really cool when he was bugged initially, dealing like 380% range instead of 186, but it's still powerful. I was just very gutted because Smoke Bomb is so good day one with his super inflated ability, and now it's just, it works. It does what it does. Okay, Fortnitemares is where I have a lot of notes. A lot of notes. Iza's good. Swamp Knight just encourages people to stand still. Jonesy Bot is like a what the hell kind of thing when we first saw it. Headshot damage based on missing health is if you're at like 50% health capacity, which I'll talk about in a second. We don't know how much this ability gives you. You're not really, if you're losing that much health, you are not in a state of mind to be aiming for the head. So he's just kind of useless. I get that his perk might make sense on paper, but practically speaking, nobody uses him. And anybody who does is quickly discouraged from him. And that's the other thing I want to mention, and I'll bring up Willow, where based on the percent of my missing health, is that if I have 37, I don't know how much that is. That's it. Like, how low health do I have to go? Am I supposed to play the game with 10% health remaining? That's dangerous. She's nice to work into a loadout, but I don't know if she buffs anything when I have full health. I just don't know. Anyway, so like an update to the descriptions would be fantastic. Literally change nothing. Just let us know more about how these work so we can be educated gamers. I could have tested it in game, but I think a description is nice as well. And Sanguine Dusk. Oh, my old favorite. I used to main her because before the hero rework, she did like all the things I wanted to do. But nowadays, Phase Siphon is very weak. I mentioned in a recent video where I was corrected where I was getting angry about only doing 12 base damage. Obviously, this says that it heals you for 12 base, which is still quite low. I believe it does the exact same amount of damage. Once again, I don't know how much damage it does to the enemies. It's just... somebody made a comment that got a lot of likes on my video, which basically said it, and that is you take more damage phasing through enemies than she heals. So literally just a damage buff and a health buff would make her really great. In fact, I would use her in most Outlander builds. In fact, I actually I don't even know if I have it set up, but sometimes I replace this build with an Outlander and I use it for pistols and SMGs instead. And to have Sanguine Dusk healing me and doing damage when I dash through stuff would be really nice. I think it'd be a great addition, a great little update, but right now she is effectively useless alongside Igor, who smoke bomb energy cost is not really helping much. I mean, as a ninja, it is nice to reduce the ability, like the energy cost, because you're spamming abilities all the time. But the only times I've ever used a smoke bomb loadout, I had Dragon Slash, where Sarah Hotep was actually more useful because Dragon Slash is more expensive. So I'm just not really sure how reducing smoke bomb cost helps at all. If he literally just did smoke bomb damage instead, I would use him hands down. That'd be fantastic, because smoke bombs are like almost strong enough to be really good, but not quite there. And like I said with Infiltrator Ken, Smoke bombs can be really fun, and literally being able to spam it whenever they're ready to go, whenever the last one depletes, could make for really fun gameplay, and I promise you that wouldn't be overpowered. Dire is another interesting one where I don't know why this is mythic. Increasing movement speed at night is strange. I've been told that this works in the Storm King, and I've also been told that this doesn't work in the Storm King. I don't know what the hell that means anymore, but if he was always active during Storm King and dungeons, that would be great. If he is active and I don't know it, then sorry. But Brainiac Jonesy is the exact same as Ghoul Trooper. Now, that could be because he's promotional. Maybe you can't even get these anymore and I'm crazy, but they are the same thing. It's just war cry duration. And I had a suggestion. So because the thick skeleton lady is the exact same as the thick skeleton guy, it made me think. If the lady is available as a repeat hero, meaning you can still get Skull Ranger Ramirez in the future, wouldn't it make sense that one of these heroes be the hero that gives you reload speed? Because, you know, they're buffing your damage when you reload, so to have the other one, you know, increase your reload speed, I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be really cool because they are very obviously matching heroes. So to be able to encourage players to use both of these in support could be really fun. And it would also support the Trick and Treat, where that ability activates, if I can scroll down, where that activates, you need Fortnitemares Heroes, maybe buffing your reload speed and damage would be a nice combo. That's just a suggestion. Both of these heroes are completely fine. Upping it by 15% is great, and increasing your Warcry duration by 3 seconds is also great. I also wanted to mention Bloodfinder. I mentioned I'd bring him up later. That is still not enough damage. That's it. When the punch was free and you could spam it like crazy in the Venture season, people suggested using him. I tried it, and everybody on stream was like, oh, okay. Yeah, anti-material charge does not do a lot of damage, and he doesn't make it do enough damage. So a bonus would be great. That's it. I don't have any suggestion for him otherwise. That's kind of all I had to say on that. And I believe that just about wraps up the Fortnitemares. Costume party attendees, I think, is bugged. I can't even put these in my loadouts, in my hero loadouts, so maybe they're not even... Just kidding. They're survivors. I will say, though, that the Jack-O-Lantern coming back would be great. Just saying. I would like to put that in my collection book and have a copy I can use without using a weapon voucher. Anyway. Sci-fi weapons are interesting because they are some of the best weapons in the entire game, but the heroes are... not. Rio is great. You guys did awesome work here. This is super cool. I'm a Blast in the Past fanboy, so I'm upset about it, but I respect that this is a great hero. Eddie is yeah, crit hits with melee weapon energy damage can add to your shield is cool. If he buffed melee energy damage, that would be better, in my opinion. Intergalactic Ken, I have heard to be quite useful. Because he's constantly restoring your energy, he's a great combo with Rio, so maybe he's better than I remember because of that new bonus. Cyberclops is an endless argument because so many people try to tell me how good he is, but I did the basic math that he's not. And the math is simply this. I'll even share it just in case I'm doing something wrong here. But if 20% of the time, so divide this by 1 in 5 times, I'm doing 58%, I'm only really on average getting a nearly 12% damage bonus. That's not that good. I think he'd actually be more fun if 100% of the time you got a 10% damage bonus when it arced out to different enemies. That'd be cool. I'd actually really like that. Or maybe this is overpowered, or make it the exact same as the Founders Revolt. I think that'd be really cool as well. These are just opinions at this point. I'm not saying that that's required. Plenty of people like Cyberclops. I'm just stubborn, but bullet chaining on the Founders Revolt is a perk we want more of. I know that you locked it behind an event weapon, well, a Founders weapon, which we aren't actually allowed to purchase anymore. So it's a really cool ability. So to lock it behind a weapon that we can't even have is cool. And it works well in the idea that, you know, Cyberclops could benefit from it. Although I do know that his commander perk is really good. That Teddy gets quite the buff. And that's all I wanted to say about that. Azealia Clark was one of the very first examples I had. When you guys mentioned, when Matt just mentioned that he was going to be tweaking Rio, or you guys are going to be tweaking Rio, Azealia Clark was the very first one where I was like, she needs a buff. Because... what I was really thinking about was the team perk. Ability energy damage by 15.5 is great. That's plenty fine. I really don't even have a bad thing to say about that. Even the shock tower exploding is quite nice. I think what I was thinking about was the zap, and that is every 6 seconds it targets an enemy, but if you kill that enemy, it just finds a new target. So it is very painfully slowly just dealing extra damage. And worst of all, the most offensive thing is that it doesn't specify the strongest enemy. So if you're in a crowd of baby zombies, it will shoot at the baby zombies and ignore the mist monster that might be also in that crowd of zombies. And if it did 105 base damage to the strongest enemy, and if you killed that enemy, it quickly reset to the next strongest enemy, that'd be great. If this thing was constantly taking out the biggest threat, that'd be fantastic, but it's currently just not. And what we learned recently with the fact that it was stacking damage is it doing insta-kills, not that bad in my opinion. Maybe against mini-bosses, maybe against smashers, but a little bit of extra help on the mist monsters would be really, really cool. And also, we have pretty casually just come to the end of this video. Yeah, I'm not doing any gameplay for this. I think I got my points across. I think there are some abilities that are a little specific, but I don't know that any hero does anything so special that I need to go out of my way to show it. So hopefully this was comprehensive. Leave all the comments, share your thoughts. But this was quite the recording, and I am going to be 50 minutes. That's going to be some timestamps. I'm going to timestamp it for everybody so this is comprehensive. This has been, in my opinion, heroes that need a buff in Fortnite Save the World, and almost an overview of every hero. If you do want that, link to my best heroes video down below. It's older now. I need to update it. That's going to be a lot of work too. I might not do that, but I have pinned comments on that video for the relevant heroes like Stoneheart Farah that have been added. Thank you guys so much for watching. If anybody at Epic is watching this, then thank you for even listening to me. That's huge. And if any of this makes it into the game, I would like my name in the credit. I'm just kidding. It'd be very nice to see any of these changes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.